Hello everybody, it's me, Jeremiah McRecording, and welcome to Instruo Cruinn. I bought this and it arrived yesterday and I spent about an hour patching it, and I just want to share with you the sounds that this thing makes. So what is this? Well, it's an oscillator. It's a stereo oscillator and it does phase modulated saw sounds, which means kind of like a super saw. But there's all these really interesting sweet spots in it. And I'm going to be basically starting from nothing, just the pure saw sound. We're going to be working our way through the spread and detune. We're going to be experimenting with some FM. We're going to be experimenting with some modulation using the expander, which actually allows us to CV control the stereo placement of every available oscillator in here, which I'm going to be using the Maestro for, which is very cool. In terms of the patch here, Cruinn's going to be running into our friend data here, so you have something to look at. It's going into a VCA, even though I don't need to. This thing actually has an internal VCA over there, but I'm not using it right now. So it's going into a VCA. It's getting an envelope. That's going into a filter, the Zagrzeb filter from XAOC. That's getting an envelope. From there, it's going to go into Mutable Instruments Beads for some reverb and delay. And from there, it goes out to our mixer. When we get into the FM stuff, what's going to happen is the Bastl Pizza, which has become like my favorite sidecar oscillator for some reason, this is being pitch sequenced with the same pitch information that this is. So we have FM that is, tracked, and we'll be using this through its own envelope and VCA to just get some really insane stuff out of this. Someone was listening to a patch I made with it, and they're like, "Oh, this just sounds like the new Dune soundtrack." It's amazing. We'll get there eventually. If you hear any drums, they're coming from the Bitbox Micro sequenced by Constellation. With that said, why don't we just start playing the Instruo Cruinn and listen to what it sounds like? Wow, isn't that amazing? It's nothing, is it? So let's go ahead and start to turn up our VCA decay. So that's a saw wave, baby. Isn't that wonderful? Through the filter. Yeah, what a cute little saw wave. All right, so we have two controls for the swarming here. We have depth and rate. Let's start with depth. Can you feel that? Probably not on the phone. This is a headphone experience. We are very stereo now. All right, let's start turning up the rate. Yes, this is exactly how I was hoping for from this oscillator. An insanely wide saw. So it starts to break up if you go very fast, but this is actually kind of interesting. Because it can go so fast, it almost starts to sound like audio rate modulation. All right, so we have big wide fringe with lots of little sweet spots there. Go ahead and bring in a bass drum and change the timing on this. Bring the filter down so you can hear what it sounds like filtered. Stereo filtered swarmy saw wave is a beautiful thing. Okay, so one of the really interesting things about this is putting FM into the FM input. I don't normally really mess with FM with these things quite all that much, but for this one, I found it immediately really compelling. So we have Pizza, and we're going to sequence Pizza's VCA envelope, meaning we're going to give it its own pattern. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so again, Pizza is tracked to the same pitch that this is, which means we're going to get a particular flavor of FM. Let's go ahead and turn up this. Can you hear that extra rhythm we got going on there? Let me turn up the events. change. It's going to change if I turn the octave of pizza around. Yeah. There it is. Isn't that cool? I think that's really cool. That's linear FM. Let's listen to exponential. So while this thing is really, really able to produce really sweet tones with FM, and this all the way up, we're gonna get really nasty. So eventually when you throw enough, modulation at something, it kind of becomes noise. But it's pretty cool. Listen to that. Isn't that cool? It's so cool. So this is what I mean by this thing really, really likes FM. Being able to especially if it's pitch track, being able to instill a whole nother rhythm on it is really cool. Let's go ahead and bring some beads on this so you can hear what sort of a nasty, ugly synthwave bass line might sound like. Okay, we're going to make this a bit longer, and we're going to experiment with our CV inputs for the spread here, and you're going to hear a pretty interesting experience. So in order to really make this happen, I'm going to turn down the speed of our triggers for the VCA here. So we're going to be long. Go ahead and turn off the bass drum right now. I'm going to turn the depth up all the way. Turn the rate down all the way. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first just make this a really obvious sequence. Down and quarter note. All right, listen to what happens when I turn up modulation, a stepped downward ramp to these friends. Hear how now these things pan rhythmically. So you have control over the pan position of each individual wave in this swarm. It's very subtle, but there is a rhythmic relationship to each one of the way that our saw waves are panning. And so there's probably a lot of different cool stuff we could do with this. Cool. So I'm going to take these out for now. Very obvious when we take them out, isn't it? Okay, the next thing I want to do here is going to go ahead and mute this. This is our final demo. And the horror drone thing that I just really liked from before. So, we're going to be using Pizza to modulate the Cruisin again with a long fade, just like we're doing with this. I'm going to go over to the trigger sequencer that is triggering gate sequencer Constellation that is doing this and make this very long. So I'm gonna dial this in just right. When these two hit together, we get some really cool stuff. Now listen to what happens if I change the octave of pizza. Yeah, I got all super growly. That's it. That's it right there. That's what I wanted. Just disgusting. Cool, let's go ahead and bring in beads. You can hear the apocalypse drone that I had yesterday. You can also bring a filter in on this. So it's so simple. We have a whole swarm of phase modulated saw waves doing stereo stuff at a certain rate, a certain depth. And we have a pulse oscillator doing FM modulation, pitch track to the same, but octave different. And it's just doing some wonderful, disgusting things. Okay, I could literally listen to this all day. I'm going to turn this into a more traditional synth thing to play us out. I hope you've enjoyed this little tour to Instro. It does what it says, and it sounds very, very, very good. So thanks for watching. My name's Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and I hope that this didn't open any portals to hell in your house. If it did, I hope the demons are chill. Yeah, don't sign any contracts unless you want to. Some people are into that. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.